And here we are with game number one of the finals. This is Complexity against Cognitive. We see Thor banned by Complexity, Cognitive banning out Arachne first because, well, Weekend can't have any fun.
Will we ever see Weekend Arachne this tournament?
Hopefully not, because I can't handle it. My heart just...
Yeah, I don't think most of the Arachnophobes can handle it. So, any Arachnophobes out there, blame Weekend for any troubles you might be having in solo.
And we're going to see a Nemesis being the second ban out for Complexity. They obviously do not want to deal with any jungler shenanigans. Cognitive now needs to decide what they want to ban out here. Do they want to ban Serket, Nox, Sylvanas, Giannis, Apollo,
Kali? I mean, the two gods, you can't let Weekend have any of the bugs, honestly. Weekend is such a good player when it comes to Serket and Arachne that you just can't let him have him. But Kali is still on the table. Sylvanas going to be locked in immediately. Wouldn't be surprised to see them try to steal Kali away here, though.
Would be interesting to see what it is that Cognitive wants. But yeah, I mean, there's so many options here. Do they go for Geb because Jeff is an amazing Geb player? Do they go for a Hunter and accentuate Barracuda's awesome skills there? You know, there are so many different places that they are both incredibly, but also incredibly strong on. There are these. For example, in the jungle, you've got a lot of options available, but they're also relatively deep. We're going to see Osiris and Kali being locked in here. Osiris probably going to go back to the solo lane for Mr. Mackey once again. Osiris probably one of the quintessential picks for that Bruiser 80s.
Not to mention
Bruiser
that
solo lane that we've been seeing.
Even though Mackey had a bit of a rough time against Cliff, he handled himself quite nicely in team fights on Osiris, and just seemed to be, in general, rather comfortable in Osiris.
Well, considering that I have seen in ranked games some of the best solo laners in the world have a hard time against X-Cliff's Chronos, I don't think we need to
just handle himself nicely. That's all you really need to be able to do. Survive the landing phase against Cliff's Chronos.
And now what we're going to see here is we can reminding the world what Mercury can do in the jungle, and Allied's going to say, hey, if it's not broke, why fix it? And I have fun doing it. And I mean, really, I think Allied just has fun playing Chronos, and Complexity keeps doing well with it, so there's no reason to change it. They get enough.
Vulcan?
What? I'm sorry. I've got Chronos on the brain. I'm sorry. He's one of my favorite gods. Also I'm channeling Lord WizKid, who is a very dear friend who got me hooked on Chronos as well. So we are going to see Geb being locked in here, or at least hovered on for Jeff and locked in. So no actual ADC has been picked technically for either team, though we are expecting Allied to pick up or to be playing Vulcan in that ADC role. So Cognitive probably going to be banning out a solo laner here, somebody that Osiris was poorly against, perhaps. Or maybe a mid laner if they've got a mid laner in mind in these last two slots that has a particularly.
I wouldn't be surprised if they just double tap it and go for a Ra or a Nuwa here. Yeah. As we saw Kiki play Nuwa to great effect quite often.
Interesting decision to ban the Hercules out because Hercules actually has a very poor matchup against Osiris, but Hercules does give a very solid bruiser position in the solo lane, which maybe they're trying to keep Cyclone Spin away from. And Continentia's turn to ban, seeing what they want to ban out here. Would expect to see a Hunter probably, but which one? Because they're all we're actually going to see a Giannis ban out here, interestingly enough. So I guess if you don't want to play it, you might as well get rid of it.
And they want to deny the actual semi-global rotation command of Giannis. So that's actually a good idea. We're going to see Nuwa hovered and locked in immediately for Cognitive Gaming, right?
Now, if I'm lucky, this means that Kiki is going to play Nox. And if that happens, we're going to have a good time, and Andy's going to have a bad time mid.
I do feel, however, that Snoopy is going to know what to do against this Nox. So I don't think it'll be a safe pickup here for Kiki.
Rip.
I mean, Nox is a really, really good god, but unfortunately, as it's been discussed multiple times, I mean, even in a recent tier list was discussed by DM Brittany, he said that Nox has a really rough time. We've actually seen it time and time again that if Nox can't get off the ground and the team knows how to apply pressure to her, she won't have a good time at all.
I definitely do understand and agree with that. Please, no. Don't do this. Don't do this to me, Jeff.
Please
Jeff,
do it.
Don't do this to me, Jeff. I don't want to see an ADC.
Do it.
Oh.
I mean, now's the time for doing something a little weird and crazy. I don't think he's actually going to lock in. I think he's just messing around. So he's going to go back to Freya. Very, somebody's kind of fallen out of favor a bit in the ADC role, but definitely still there.
I mean, she's been nerfed
I mean,
twice.
Freya
Which is understandable.
she still brings a lot of power to the table, even through her nerf.
Uh-oh. They're mixing things up here. They're putting Andy back. I think they decided that they just got to put Andy on Kali. Andy said, forget it. I want Kali. Put me back in the jungle. So, unless this is like a mid lane Kali, which is terrifying in its own right. But anyways, we did see that Fenrir last pick over for complexity. It's going to be a solo lane Fenrir most likely, which does reasonably well if that's a solo lane Osiris. So, lot of interesting decisions. Fairly standard comps, but just enough fluidity in some of the decisions that we're not 100% certain as far as how these teams will work or how these teams will necessarily blend themselves. We, the basics of Freya, ADC, Geb, support, we understand how Allied likes to play, same with Encon, but some interesting decisions as far as how these team comps wish to go together in the end. So this is the First Blood Tournament, brought to you by TierMonster.com and hi-rez Studios. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be back with the action in 160 seconds. Stay tuned. And we are into the action, everyone. Complexity against Cognitive. This is a best-of-3 finals series. Complexity in the blue trunks, the bottom side of your map, left-hand side of your spectator UI. We have Weaken in the jungle on Mercury, Allied as your ADC Vulcan, Kiki or not in the mid lane as Ra, Cyclone Spin as your solo lane Fenrir, and that is probably going to be a dead Barracuda.
Game, actually. Barracuda going to get caught out right here, goes over right into a Ra, he'll going to dodge the other way, and going to fall to Cyclone Spin right there, brutalizing the competition.
Indeed, and last on that list, but certainly not least, we do have the man on the tree, Incontinentia, as your support, Sylvanas.
Meanwhile, aside bringing out Cognitive Gaming, we've got Snoopy on Osiris, Andy on Kali, Barracuda bringing out the Freya, Jeff Hendla on Geb, and Mr. Makey playing new one.
Will be an interesting setup here, especially as Barracuda did get caught out there. Probably just going to lane and being a little bit, I don't want to say lazy necessarily, but a little bit lax, a little bit not too concerned, and that led to his death. And you really don't want to let anybody on Complexity get an early kill, especially in this setup where once again they're on the blue side, which means that, and their solo laner got the kill again. Actually, I guess their mid laner got the kill last time, but still, like, the whole kill, so, and now we're going to see Weaken and Cyclone Spin feel comfortable enough with the fact that because they already got a kill, that they can probably try and steal this away here, and so Weaken is going to applying some damage, but nope, Andy and Snoopy did get it, and so now Andy is going to be leaping over and applying a ton of damage there onto Weaken and Cyclone Spin. Cyclone Spin actually forced to utilize his hog there to simply remove some of the pressure, though Weaken does still have his hog available for when they do wish to do this blue buff.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to just get in there and try to steal that away, but I think there's going to be a bit of a fight over this one, actually, so we might be seeing another Coconut soon actually going to try to bait this one out, waiting for Weaken to try to rotate, and they're going to catch him in rotation, goes for it right now, going to fire off the scythe right there, and it's going to be a Cyclone Spin jumping in, trying to find some damage, looking for the Brutalize, like he's going to jump onto Andy, Andy taking a lot of damage, but Cyclone Spin taking even more damage, Cyclone Spin likely to fall next. There comes Cognitive Gaming, picking up a return kill a few minutes later, but picking up a kill nonetheless.
Indeed, and that is huge, especially giving that kill to an Osiris. Osiris sort of like the tankier version of Kali. Very, very nice attack chain, a lot of damage coming out, especially with something like a chin size. So it's risky to let him get any sort of big at all. Weaken's going to come in here and try and do something about this, but really at this point he just risks dying himself. Cyclone Spin is here, as well as Kiki or not, so they are going to save that buff, but Weaken is incredibly low, and Snoopy is level 3, so Cyclone Spin is going to pop the Brutalize there onto Snoopy, getting Snoopy surprisingly low, but Snoopy is level 4, he should be alright, and the Raw heal helping out Weaken a fair amount, but that took them almost 2 minutes to get their blue buff. That's difficult.
Just putting them in a bad position, which is a good thing to be doing, but what can you really do? We're going to see a steal attempt actually coming out here by Cognitive, going for the speed buff right now, and they might be able to snatch away. They do spot the rotation coming out from Complexity, however, and they're going to be forced to back away here. Andy trying to be a little cheeky, actually, and going to be waiting around the corner, waiting for it to pop up. They're going to walk ahead. Weaken going to find this one out. They're going to come and try to fight something now, but no real damage being done here. Actually, in the meantime, Cyclone Spin is going to fall to Snoopy. Great Lord of the Afterlife coming crashing down on his head.
Unfortunately, I missed that as I was still watching the mid lane. But really, right now, the biggest reason, or something else to note, is that we do see Kiki being one of the first members on his team to hit level 5, and we're going to keep an eye on the dual lane while we mention this. But because Incon and Allied have this lane pushed so far forward, Cognitive can't steal away the speed buff because they don't have that support from their duo lane to just simply walk over and help them with it, which is what you see 90% of the time. Is if you want to start on the Chaos side and you want to steal away that first speed buff, you have to have a team comp that can push up your duo and your mid lane early, so that way you can steal that away.
Fortunately for Cognitive, their duo lane is having a lot of trouble outpushing a Vulcan ADC and a Sylvanas, which is a really difficult lane combo to deal with, like, pushing wise.
They're both gods that are picked for their push, so we are going to see Cyclone Spin actually rotating out of lane. Not quite sure where he's going.
And we're going to see a Gold Fury sneak coming out of Complexity, actually. This could be rough, but I don't think the dual lane's going to rotate in time spot. They're actually going to secure this with Complexity getting a very early Gold Fury. Nuwa did drop the ultimate for Vision. Now Constantine and friends are going to be caught out in a bad position. Here comes the Frail ultimate. Going to try to find the damage. Will find the last shot, but Wrath of Terror did get forced out there. Now it looks like the rest of Complexity should be making their way back to the towers. Allied Michael from lays back. Crackleman does come down onto Kiki. Kiki gonna be great, but here comes a great ultimate at a week and gonna get all three members of Cognitive right there. And gonna help his team escape.
Indeed. So I actually really like that. The rotation from Cyclone's been making it look like he was rotating to help with mid camps, and really to apply a little bit of pressure to that mid lane, allowing his teammates to get that Gold Fury. And they are now just under 900 gold in the lead, but even though they are 2,500 experience behind, actually make that just under 3,000. However, Cyclone Spin is going to pop his ultimate, pop Mr. Makey into his mouth, and then actually brutalize away. So a little bit of a wasted ultimate. Jumping over into the jungle, Weekend and Snoopy are in a bit of a tiff, but Weekend should be all right for now, though he is continuing to actually try and chase Snoopy here, even though he is a level down, and Snoopy with his sickle does, and his flail.
But he does have Cyclone Spin coming from the background as well, so I definitely see why he's going for this, but not applying nearly enough pressure. The speed buff will be secured, so will the blue buff, most likely.
Yeah, and so this is one of those things where I understand what you're going for, but Osiris is one of those gods that does incredibly well against Mercury because he has a slow and a slow accentuator built into his kit with his sickle strike and his spirit flail. So you got to be careful with Mercury because he can slow you down, and speed is everything for a Mercury. So we're actually going to see we can come over and now take this red buff for his mid laner, Kiki, but they're not falling behind, but they certainly don't have the same tempo and vigor that we are used to seeing Complexity have when they are in their the jungle. Barracuda and Allied boxing a little bit. Barra's actually going to get a Geb shield just to keep things up, though he actually took 0 damage during that duration of the shield, and Barracuda then was knocked down to below half health thanks to the meatball backfire combo.
Yeah, Allied did a good job of waiting the shield out right there and then applying damage, and he knew he could actually apply effective damage right there, so good job by him, actually, knowing when and where you can apply the effective damage, and it's one of the things that really sets Allied apart from a lot of players, I feel.
Oh, definitely, and it's a wonderful thing to see. So we're going to see Jeff Hamlin taking a fair amount of damage there, but Allied really just trying to keep his lane forced up and trying to maintain pressure over here to try and force Cognitive back in other areas. We see a very good job of vision being maintained deep into Cognitive jungle as well, even though Complexity is behind. Going to see actually Andenstar trying to go in a little bit deep here for something, as we see a 3-man rotation coming over to this blue buff from Encon, Kiki, and Weekend. Encon going to be trying to apply a little bit of pressure onto Andy, as Andy is going to walk away, but mid camps are coming up and Complexity is on the wrong side for a lot of these, though Encon is here to try and contest this right-hand side, and Weekend is channeling
wrong side, but they're in a good position, and they're going to be able to secure these away, most likely, unless Andy wants to try something cheeky. Mr. Making going to try to apply a little bit of pressure, but still got a few seconds. Let's make him. Andy going to get a great stun on 3 people, though. Now Geb is looking for something. Jeff Finley going to try to find whatever he can. Weekend going to be forced to dash away here. Great Geb shield to keep himself going in the action. Going to root him down, but Wrath of Terror will come down right into a Cataclysm as well. Encon taking a lot of damage. We're going to root out Mr. Maker there with his passive right there. Going to be just fine with these mid camps. Should be arriving any second now, as up to the air goes Nuwa. Find some vision, nothing. It's also going to help Allied be boxed out by Barracuda right there. Going to force him away, and that's going to actually secure the speed up away from with Andy right here. Andy trying to find it, goes for the hog. Going to find the Ross knife. Not going to find the damage, though, and he's going to be out of there, it seems.
Indeed, and that's just really smart play there by Cognitive. Really smart play by both of these teams. They're doing a beautiful job. It's like a game of chess at this point.
At the same time, here comes Encon, ready to find Barracuda. Barracuda in a lot of trouble. Gonna be forced to ulti, most likely, if he wants to escape. Gonna be right into Mercury's living arms. Gonna get tossed away, but Geb Shield saves his life, and he's gonna be out of here now. Great stun from Andy. Gonna try to keep his team going, but they're both gonna be forced to disengage here, as there's no real damage. At the same time, Snoopy will find another kill on a Cyclone Spin. He's been going incredibly hard this game.
Indeed he has. Well, Cyclone Spin also going for the Transcendence build on Fenrir, meaning that he will have a lot of power late game, but the problem is he has to get there first. And that's just it, as he's getting to that late game on Fenrir. Not difficult, but certainly not easy with this build. You've got several different ways to power spike Fenrir, and Transcendence power spike is a little bit later in the game, especially because Fenrir doesn't have a whole lot of mana to his name as a base god. Or base stats on his god.
I mean, I'm also a bigger fan of the earlier / early mid game spikes on Fenrir because it brings so much to the table already. If you accentuate that, it works out. But at the same time, in this field, I definitely feel like a late game build actually would work out. But Snoopy doing a good job of not letting him get to that point.
Yeah, Snoopy has been doing a beautiful job there of just beating him up 3-0-0 Osiris against a 1-3-0 Fenrir. It's huge for Snoopy to be continuing that aggression, and now we're going to see a little bit of pressure on Hiki in the mid lane, and we're also going to see a rotation coming out from Jeff and Barra, though it really looks like it's more just a bit of a scouting rotation than anything else, as they are trying to check some things out. Cyclone Spin going to apply a bit of a stun onto Snoopy. Snoopy's still only a level ahead of him, so not too much either one of them can do right now. Cyclone Spin is ahead in health and mana, but I don't know if he feels comfortable trying to apply much more pressure there, as there is a lot of defensive items on Snoopy. Actually going to be picked up in the Ragnarok going under tower. He's going to pop Lord of the Afterlife to get out of there, and Cyclone Spin is not going to actually chase because Weekend is there. Weekend missing both of his ultimates and his Made You Look for special delivery, which is unfortunate. Now we're going to see Kali coming here onto Cyclone Spin. Cyclone Spin taking a lot of damage, going to pop a little bit of damage there. A lot of damage coming out from that Shining Metal, surprisingly enough, onto Cyclone Spin. And Cyclone Spin probably going to need to back off here, as mid camps are spawning, and we do see Incon and Kiki taking the right set.
Yeah, they're going to be able to secure those away, and they actually might run face first into Andy and Mr. Makey, but not actually around those. There's a bit of a dissonance on the like how the spawn for the timers are on the spawn timers. So gonna be a little behind, but now Andy is waiting for somebody to come for the red buff. Gonna try to find it. Stun does fall a little short, so that stun is down. Mr. Mickey will get rooted out right into a Wrath there, taking them both down up into the air. Now here comes the full round of Snoopy. Snoopy gonna get pulled in, but here comes a great sniper from Kiki. Kiki gonna get a lot of damage off right in that choke point, and gonna secure their speed up right there, but he's gonna walk right into Andy. Andy can apply a lot of pressure back, but now the beam to the face is gonna hurt.
Well, the thing was is that actually with that raw snipe, it was perfectly aegis out by Mr. Makey and took 0 damage from it. So Nua went from probably what would have been dead to 75% with no problem. Now Andy does hear them starting this up, and Barracuda sees as well. Nice banish onto 2. Unfortunately, they still are working away at it. Chunking not too quickly, but we do see
it's going to be up to the rest of Cognitive to rotate over here. We can get catch out with Mr. Makey. They're actually going to get chunked down completely right there. Great damage right there from Allied and Cyclone Spin though, but Barracuda going to return the favor onto Weekend. Weekend has fallen now. They're trying to stay alive here, but Incon is so low, and Jeff Hipple's at full health. Pops the Geb Shield. Andy going to go down on the Cyclone Spin. Cyclone Spin takes a lot of damage. Geb Shield does get popped, but he is just safe from the meatball right there. Gonna find Incon right there. This is gonna be a Gold Fury if Cog can find the rest of these people or force them away, and they should secure this quite nicely.
Yeah, I think it's going to be...
might have something to say about it, but I don't think they can respond in time.
Well, especially because Snoopy is sitting right here, applying a decent amount of damage. He's taking a lot of damage as well, but if Snoopy can keep them busy long enough, they should be doing alright. Allied trying to get up in here and contest it, but I don't know what he can do, especially because the banish was there as well, and Allied getting knocked down very quickly. Andister kills him. That was his target, so Andy's back to full health. However, the ultimate comes out from Weekend. Weekend is a lot. How beautiful Cataclysm. Their Cognitive takes the Gold Fury, and Weekend trying to make them pay for their transgressions, but it does not matter because they just got some free gold, and Andy might die, but he's 3 levels ahead of Weekend at this point. I don't know what Weekend can do right there.
Yeah, definitely able to apply as much pressure as the Transgressor's Fate, aka not very much, unfortunately.
Indeed. And so now we are sitting at 12 minutes in, 2-7, 4.8 thousand experience, 5,000 experience, just under 2,000 gold in favor of Cognitive. But when you look at you look about 10 minutes ago when we first really looked at it after that first Gold Fury, there's actually a 3,000 difference from the last Gold Fury attempt that was done, which shows that Cognitive has been grinding very well back into their favor, and then also on top of that,
they've been finding the good fights. They found the Gold Fury. They've been finding the jungle objectives they need, other than the Gold Fury. So it's not really a surprise that Cogs managed to peel their way back into the game and then peel their way ahead.
They've done a beautiful job of it, and I've got to give them props for just how solidly they've been doing here. And now we're going to see the first tower of the game going the way of Cognitive, and that is going to be a 12.5-minute tower. Not an insanely early one, but also not late either. We're going to see Weekend and Andy fighting over these mid camps. However, the Raw Beam does...
Stun did get popped out a little early. Raw in a bit of an awkward position, trying to keep Weekend safe, but Weekend forced away here, and... Well, the stun was unfortunately not available later in the fight, as it did miss onto Weekend, so...
Indeed. I'm over in the duo lane watching Barracuda taking a fair amount of damage, actually, but he does have Geb there, which means that he should be alright. Allied trying to poke Geb a little bit, but Jeff's like, nah, we're good. Coming back over to the middle lane, though, we're going to see a leap coming out of Kali. And all three members of Complexity are stuck under tower, feeling like they can't really get out. Allied does, in fact, lose that boxing match as teammates are rotating over as well. This will be a free blue buff and quite possibly a free tower as well, as they do have a full wave of minions there if they really want to try and capitalize on it. We do see Andy and Mr. Mackey rotating back to mid lane. Not quite sure when that this left side buff is going to be up. The one thing Complexity is going for them right now is the fact that they have owned both of these buff camps for so long.
Yeah, they need to be able to secure it. They need to be able to get their lane safe, so had to rotate back to the mid lane unless they wanted to lose it. Kiki going for a bit of a shot. They're not going to find it. Now they're chasing on the Weekend. Weekend going to be running around trying to pull him into something bad, but not going to find what he wants. But Andy looking for the fight over the small camp right now. Probably going to find it. Has a stun available. Going to stun out Weekend. Weekend in a lot of trouble. Going to pop his major look. Going to jump right in front of him. He's going to run the other way and juke away. Here comes the major look. Going to try to find the fight. Special delivery does connect, but not going to connect nearly long enough. Third Breaker will be coming out. Going to find Andy right there. He's going to pop his ulti, and a get shield will keep him safe and sound. Now they're going to force the disengage here as Jeff Hindla and friends will be escaping, but Mr. Makey will be pulled back into the action. Snoopy fighting this one out. Incon going to fire up his ultimate as well, going to try to slow him down. Snoopy going to get rooted out there as well, but going to be back to the loving arms of his team and going to be just safe and sound.
Indeed, and so after that engagement, it was much ado about nothing, really, as we simply didn't see any kills coming out. There were several almost kills, but almost doesn't really mean much, because if they don't die, they don't come off the map, and if they don't come off the map,
really
they don't get
pressured enough to find anything. So
exactly, and so very solid pressure they're coming out from Andy, and very good job there by knowing exactly when to pop his ultimate to try and mitigate as much damage as possible. But the Geb Shield comboed with it actually almost made that a win for Complexity, because they burned a couple very key ultimates there. Though in the process they did burn several of their own, so probably it doesn't end up calling it a wash.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on this one, actually. I mean, it was unfortunate, but yeah, I have to agree with you on that one.
Make up your mind. I don't care. Anyways, we're gonna see some aggression coming out here into this jungle camp area. Andy just trying to get some vision, try and see if there's anything for him to steal. There isn't. Might catch out. Over here goes Cyclone's been taking a lot of damage. He should probably pop the Ragnarok, carry him under tower. However, Andenster is going to be fine as he's going to leap over the wall. Actually,
at the same time, here comes the team ready to keep him safe, but Jeff Hindla also willing to help someone out here. Unfortunately, Andy probably at the end of his line and the end of his life, and well, down he goes. But now Jeff Hindla's in a bit of an awkward spot. Going to try to escape. Cataclysm does get forced out right there. Mr. Mickey trying to come in support as well, but maybe going to find the damage. Going to stun out Cyclones, and actually does a ton of damage onto him right now. Now Snoopy's in the fight. Mr. Mickey going to this guy. Going to finish off Cyclones, but no, he will not actually. Just going to be for the escape as the Wrath of Terror does come down. Ross Snipe as well. Weekend trying to find the shots they need, just raving about like a madman, but more like a party goer right now as he's trying to find the shots. Incontinent going to get caught by the ulti right there. Here comes a great ulti across the board. Mr. Makey will find the spooky, scary fog to get Incontinentia right there.
Indeed, and now Snoopy and Cyclone Spin are going to go at it. However, Cyclone Spin, they are even levels, but you have a little more support there on Snooki as Jeff Hindla does drop a Geb Shield and he'll be alright. 16 minutes into this game now, and 9-3. Looking very solidly in Cognitive's favor. Cognitive hitting their power spikes. Kali has her chin size online, Sovereignty online, as well as the Midas boots. While over on the other side, Incon is still sitting only at Steel Mail, as he has been forced to buy a very early Shell of Absorption, while we only just now see Jeff Hindla starting his Creeping Curse.
I mean, that Shell is going to help them out quite a bit. It has saved them quite a bit of pressure in these fights, but at the same time, it's not really doing anything enough. The Cognitive is going after the Gold Fear right here, but they're going to try to interrupt this right now. Going to be forced to actually fight, so now Mr. Makey forced to leash it away. Ross Knight does come out. The Gold Fury isn't going to leash, though, thanks to that turret right there. You have to fight, so now Snoopy trying to get in their Complexity. Will get the Gold Fury right there. That's a swing they might need. Meatball does come out, dealing a lot of damage. Freya in the sky is trying to put pressure. The Cyclone Lane going to miss his jump, not going to miss his Brutalize Zone. Going to take down Snoopy. Pops the Ragnarok. Barracuda will beads it immediately, though. Now they're trying to find the fights Jeff Henley in a bit of an odd spot, but so is Barracuda trying to keep his ADC safe, but Weekend will flank from the side. Gonna find the damage, but Vanish comes out immediately. Allied actually will find the kill right there, though. A great swing for complexity, evening out the game again.
A beautiful backfire there at the end, and this should be a tower. Probably mid lane, as they are all A here, and B, the minions are closest. Really, as you said, gold difference, now 600 in favor of Cognitive. That's it. That's such a small lead, and yes, there's about 3,000 experience, but these players
more like
are...
100 now.
Yeah, 140 actually in favor, right?
Absolutely CC change right there. In a lot of trouble. Jeff Henla is also not the one in trouble. Mr. Mickey going up in the sky. Here comes Inconscious Wrath of Terror, gonna secure that kill right there. Andy trying to find the damage. Cyclone Spin going on to Mr. Mickey. Mickey pops the stun. Not gonna find the damage, so as Andy will jump into the back line. Now he's in the middle of his tower, gonna get rooted out. Allied will drop the Earthbearer, gonna hit Andy in, kicking down to below a quarter health. Heal will keep his team going. Now Snoopy's trying to get in there, gonna keep the healing low. Gonna try to get somebody stunned out right there. Kiki is gonna get stunned by Snoopy right there. Now Snoopy's the one in trouble. Weekend gonna maybe find the last shot. Andy goes into drops his own stun. He's gonna find the kill he needs. Snoopy gonna make his way out the backside with a lot of pressure applied on the Mr. Mickey. Mr. Mickey has fallen Snoopy, but can they find Snoopy? He's making his way out the back door. Maybe gonna find his way out. Maybe Allied can find the meatball, but no, it looks like he's made his way to safety. No, maybe not yet, actually. Allied is still going, but yeah, he is out of there.
Yeah, he is finally giving up. Though, Barracuda chasing Incontinentia incredibly deeper. This could be dangerous. Instead, Allied decides to go back the other direct. Guys, make up your mind. Where are you going? We're playing around the mulberry bush right now, or duck, duck, goose, because they're just going around in circles trying to find each other, and they can't seem to do it. But that was a very solid dive there from Snoopy, and the fact that he got out of there made 100% made it, you know, a worth play. But even if he had died, I think it would have been worth it, because they stopped the aggression from Complexity in its tracks. Diving back in, getting 2 kills, even if he had died, it would have been worth it, in my opinion, for him to have gone in, taken them out, and then gotten back out of there. But, you know, with that said, the fact that he made it out of there made it completely amazing for him. We see him now working on his chin size right now. It's Kali going into a chin size and Executioner. We see Freya with her Demonic Grip online, and we see Nuwa with a 24 stack on her Warlock Sash, probably going into a Divine Ruin right now on that Enchanted Trinket.
That would probably be the most likely option here. We're going to see them trying to apply a little bit of pressure, but mostly going to be minions roving about the map. I'm expecting them to start turning their attention to Fire Giant mostly here. It's going to be the big deciding moment of the game here, I feel.
Definitely. I would expect probably a 22-minute Fire Giant is going to be my guess. In about 1 to 2 minutes, get some more pressure sort of pushed up. Everybody's going to start rotating over there, I would think. Though we do see over in the dual lane, we see Weekend and Allied trying to apply pressure to Barra. Barra actually being the one that wins that engagement, as Weekend is down below half health at this point. They also do all know that the speed buff is coming up, as we saw pings coming out from both teams. And I think that Weekend knows that Andy wants this, so he is there. However, Andinster is a level ahead and really doesn't care about Weekend right now, which means that, well, a nice stun right there. Weekend getting chunked.
Not care about Weekend is going to be the last mistake he makes, and down he goes, and that is an angry, big Kalias. Here comes the Weekend Curse trying to slow him out, but going to get rooted out by Incont right there, and they're going to find the speed buff right here, and Incontinentia not really able to save anything. So they might be. They have to save the tower. The tower's taking so much damage. It's one Kali poke away from dying.
Indeed, that mid lane tower is in a lot of trouble. However, we do see a 3-man rotation over to this left-hand side. Allied getting Cataclysm down. He's going to go down. The question is to whom? Anditzer going very, very deep for it, taking a little bit of damage, but not that much, leaping over the stun, and that is going to be a dead Vulcan, and now should probably be a dead
same time,
dual
we're
lane
seeing
tower.
a big fight over in the middle there now. Incon going to get cut out, but he's going to find the shot he needs, and Cyclone Spin will bring down Barracuda.
So if you consider those as one whole entity, those 2 engagements, it's a 1-for-1 trade, but Cognitive took a tower, so I would say that it was sort of worth it, but at the same time, that mid lane fight didn't have to happen. Cognitive got a little bit too aggressive there, and split themselves up a little bit too deep, and they gave Complexity a window back into it. I
mean, they smelled blood in the water when they saw the tower low, and unfortunately got a little too ravenous and couldn't really secure anything away. Ended up giving a lot up. Snoopy getting cut out by a Rob Beam and forced to not back away. Here's a great ultimate out of Weekend right there. Gonna find the kill right now and getting a little too overconfident there in his lazy back.
Yep, definitely. So, I mean, it's one of those things where if you can back and kind of sneak it out, you're great. But the problem is if you get caught, you're in a whole lot of trouble.
I mean, Cheeky knew he was back in there. So, that's why it was so lazy. And yeah, we're going to see a gold trade attempt coming out here. They might be able to actually get this one away here, as they're going to see the rest of Complexity making their way towards it. Cognitive has noticed this happening and will be making their way towards it as they did board it out, but I don't know if they'll make it in time, as we do see the gold tree dropping quite quickly, and Complexity will secure it away very fast, and that's a 3k goldie right now, but Andy wants to make a fight happen. Gonna go for a stun to Kiki. Kiki gonna get stunned out, probably gonna fall down quite quickly, but Andy staying a little bit out of the fight, looking for it if he can, pops his ultimate, goes in, gets the kill into Kiki with the ultimate ticking damage right there, and they're gonna make their way out of here as Weekend is in the back line, gonna get cataclysmed out, gonna fall most likely, down he goes to Barracuda, now they're turning into Allied. Allied gonna drop his turret and deal a lot of damage actually, but well, they got the gold trade, and they're about 4k ahead now, but well, they lost 2 kills at the back.
Yeah, so they are ahead in gold, but they are behind by about 3,000 experience. And got some people starting to hit 20, but the problem is that they're not there yet. And so this whole, yeah, we're doing okay. Yes, you are, but 3 towers, they have more towers, so I'll give them that, but that means that there's gold in the bank for Cognitive to catch back up a little bit, and Incontinent is in a lot of trouble now. Beautiful 2-man Wrath of Terror, though, is going to stun out both Snoopy and Mr. Mackey. However, he is very low, meaning that he's got to back off, and if Cognitive does go for this Fire Giant, which it looks like they are trying to do right now, then, well, Complexity will be in a lot of trouble, as
yeah, they're
that Fire Giant
pretty hard to it, but looks like Cyclone's going to try to commit to a fight right here. Cognitive gets the Fire Giant, Cyclone's been not going to find the kill, and they're going to see the Fire Giant coming down, and they got to be careful. Cyclone's going to look for the kill, gonna find it, but now he might find the end of his own life. Mr. Mickey going to find the kill. You know, at the same time, there's a fight going on in the middle lane. Jeff Himla trying to disengage here as Andy and he are the only ones in this fight. Snoopy has actually fallen, so they got the Fire Giant, lost 1 man, but it's still worked at this point, and it looks like Complexity trying to make it less work, but they can't really find anything. Safe.
Yeah, definitely. So, but the thing that Complexity can do right now, because they did force Cognitive to back off, is they can push up these lanes, and they can make it a little bit harder for Cognitive to push in, sort of make them waste their time on minions and things like that. Because Cognitive has a relatively solid sieging team, especially with Nuwa, but you have to make them burn more stuff to get to it. So if they can force Cognitive to burn Kali's minions or Clay Soldiers, and also force Geb to tank it, which they can both do perfectly fine, but they have 3 different lanes to choose from, and if you push all of your waves very far forward, you're going to force them to have to push, you're going to force Cognitive to push your wave back up, wasting time with that Fire Giant buff, which is a huge win for Complexity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and actually they're going to be looking for Andy, and Andy get caught up by a meatball, but playing really aggressive towards the speed buff. I mean, he has been all game.
Yeah, I say Andy is going to win away this speed buff fight. Once again, this is now going to be the 2nd or 3rd in a row that Aninster has stolen, and that's really not good, especially
but a great route onto Barracuda. Gonna get pulled in as well. Geb Shield does keep him safe, but Complexity really able to like stop the bleeding and just completely force Cognitive Gaming into bad positions, but Cog's so relentless, they're able to just keep pushing these out, and probably gonna find the turret if Complexity can't force them away, and they don't really have that much long-range pressure, which is one of the downsides of Freya.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to see Incon get chain stunned pretty hard there. Going to get banished as well. And now Jeff Himla's walking in pretty deep. Going to pop his weakening curse. Actually going to see a Heavenly Agility come out as well as Snoopy coming in onto Incon. Incon taking a decent amount of damage, and it's just going to kill Weaken right there. Now we're going to see them continuing to go hard onto Incon. Incon popping Wrath of Terror is only going to hit one. Anisur is going to get the last tick of damage there onto him. Now just Kiki is left in the area as Allied is just now getting back to the party. Cyclone Spin is currently on his way, but he's actually going back into the well, even though he is full health. Probably just went to go finish off an item briefly. Jeff is going to tank up this Phoenix like it's nobody's business.
Cognitive is pushing down to the 5-man with Fire Giant. Andy going deep to apply some pressure right now. Cyclone's going to get a great stun. Pulling in with Ragnarok right now, and they're going to find the kill most likely. Kali pulled her right into the well. Pops her ult to try to kill her target most likely. Going to kill her target, but still going to fall down, and Cyclone Spin picks up the kill, but the Phoenix isn't so lucky.
Indeed, and now we're going to see Cognitive rotate into a full 4-man rotation over to the 2nd tower, and that's the biggest problem here, is that taking down a Phoenix is great, but now there are 2 more towers they have to take down before they can apply any more pressure to the Phoenix. That said, they can do plenty of tower pressure, especially as they do have those Clay Soldiers that are doing a very good job tanking that up. A little bit of damage coming out from that Vulcan ultimate, but not as much as I think they would like. Now we're going to see them try and go in and do something here, but I don't know if Incon really has the pull, peel, or any sort of CC control that, well, Sylvanas doesn't have to try and initiate a fight here. Cyclone Spin is level 20, but he is the only level 20 on his team compared to, well, Barracuda at level 20, Mr. Mackey and Snoopy are both almost there, and Instar is level 20 as well for Cognitive.
Yeah, we're gonna see them hovering around Gold Fear right now, at this point, it's mostly just trying to prevent your team from getting, the enemy team from getting anything, but always nice to have a little bit of extra money in the bank to finish off your builds. So you see teams starting to finish everything off. We do see builds nearing completion as well. So anything you really want to talk about with the builds? I know you enjoy talking about builds,
All
and
builds
now
are
we have a bit
always
of
a lot of
time.
fun.
We have a little bit of time now, so
We do. Very late Warlock Sash on the side of Vulcan. Not a huge fan of that. Also seeing a Warlock Sash still very, very low on stacks for Ra as well, which is very difficult. The fact that Kiki and Allied are nowhere near their max stacks. Actually going to see the Gold Fury being destroyed right there as well. So Cognitive now very solidly taking the gold advantage for one of the first times in the game as well. We have seen Complexity doing a very good job of maintaining that. However, I do believe that that means that Hog 3... Yes, the Hog 3 is down for 45 seconds for Geb, which means that if Complexity could force some sort of engagement right now and go for the Fire Giant, there's nothing that Cognitive can do because they have no Hog 3s available. Sure, they can fight and they could probably kill all of Complexity, but if Complexity actually tried to go for the Fire Giant, there is nothing that Cognitive can do beyond kill them.
I mean, I think they have what they need to kill him. Allied is going to get caught out in a bad position. I don't think he's making his way out of this one. He's going to walk right back into Jeff Hendla. Going to fire off his Earthbreaker, but not dealing nearly enough damage. And now Cognitive is in a position around the Gold Tree. And I don't think Complexity can respond to this one, unfortunately.
Cognitive sitting on top of the Fire Giant. They know it's going to respawn now. Or actually, just there we go, one more second. Our timer was off by about 5 seconds there. But they're just going to blow it up. Fire Giant now sitting at 60% and falling 50, 40. And Jeff Hendla's, look at that, perfect timing for Jeff. Hog came off cooldown 5 seconds ago. That's it. We've got two members of Complexity pushing the left-hand lane, and really, I mean, they need to. They need to be pushing up this dual lane as far as possible because of those fire minions. But now you've got a three-man grouping in the middle lane from Cognitive.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure Hog's just going to rush down the mid lane and just take out the Phoenix.
And
You
so
can
that's all
push.
they need to
We'll
do.
just kill everything else. I mean, they sent Kali back to prevent them from backing and just to try to stop the push, but Cognitive's just going to go in, pressure, and try to take some.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see Cyclone Spin go down here too, and Inzuros, and actually Ragnarok being forced out from Cyclone Spin. Very interesting decision there. Does get a little bit of speed and some CC immunity, but that's about it, as now he's going to get sent out by Andy. Andy's going to just shred right through him, and I think Cyclone Spin knew that he was dead. We actually did see Weekend finally taking out his speed buff. This is the first one in about 3 or 4 cycles that he has gotten to his name, but it's the small wins.
Small wins, but I mean, with this close of a game, the small wins help out, and Fire Giant definitely gonna be one of the big tick points. They're gonna start moving towards the Phoenix right now. Incon gets his Magi's pop, gonna get a great Wrath of Terror, taking almost everyone down quite low. Weakening Curse does get popped by Jeff Hindley. Just gonna tank up the tower and pop a shield on himself. Phoenix should fall down as Andy does go deep in this fight. Weaken gonna get banished right as Cataclysm does come out. Not gonna find anybody major right there. Allied gonna be forced to run away as a Raw Snipe does come across the side. Gonna barely singe the hairs on everybody right there, but not gonna deal nearly enough damage as the Phoenix does respawn. Gonna fall back down instantly, however, and Cognitive applying the pressure quite nicely, but they could find a great fight for Complexity here. Gonna maybe try to find a good engage. There is no Blink ultimate from Incontinentia, unfortunately, but they may not need it. They can find a good pull. Incontinentia trying to waltz in, gets a good pull, but gets blocked out immediately by the shield, unfortunately. And
perfect depth shield right there, indeed. And now we're going to look over at this left-hand lane. Going to see Weekend doing his best to try and stop Snoopy. However, Snoopy is incredibly tanky, and Snoopy still has a fair amount of damage. We're going to see Barracuda taking out Incontinentia right there.
Down right there. Now they're going to keep trying to find a fight. It looks like they might walk right to the turret, but Kali going to get a great stun onto Cyclone Spin right there. Cyclone Spin pop his ultimate, but not nearly enough as Barracuda brings the pain right now. And this should be the other Phoenix going down, or just straight for the throat right here as it's 3 versus 5, and I don't think we have nearly enough damage to stop this Complexity. You can't hear the clap coming out. Looking for the damage. Titan is going down incredibly fast. 40%, 30%. Soon. I think I'm dying.
I'll take over then. Weekend you got Jeff Hindle, those 15% and falling. Weekend with a double kill there onto Snoopy, but that does not matter as the Titan does go down, which is unfortunate for Complexity. Good job there at the end for Weekend trying to take out the members of Cognitive, but the Titan simply had minions, and more importantly though, most of Cognitive beating up on it, meaning that the Titan did fall down. So we will be going to a game number 2 with Cognitive in the lead, 1-0. Also to note, we have just been informed that Dignitas did take third, so congratulations to them. And we will be right back with game number 2, do or die time for Complexity, Cognitive with a 1-0 lead. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.